Hi resellers and thrifters, it's Carrie, and I'm doing a little bit of a thrift with me followed by a haul for basically an out of town video. I'm heading home. I'm on my way back from visiting Mike, my boyfriend, who's a nurse, a travel nurse, and I have about a 2.5 hour drive home, so I just used Waze to find a nearby thrift store, and I found a Salvation Army that was literally just like a mile or two off of the highway that I was on. So yeah, here I am. I'm about to go into a thrift store I've never been into. I have just a little bit of time. I'm gonna set the timer for about 35 minutes, and we'll see if I can find anything to sell for a profit, which is always the goal. Okay, we'll see you inside. So I had 30 minutes on my parking meter and I set my timer. I walked in, I saw that there were no specials that day, so that's a bit disappointing. But boy, I was not disappointed when I walked inside. This was just one of those Salvation Army thrift stores that is jam-packed with all kinds of stuff. Lots of clothes. It turned out to be a 2-level store, which I didn't realize at first when I walked in. I went straight over to the HardGoods. When you really don't have a lot of time, you're looking for things that are just going to kind of pop out at you, maybe things you've sold before, that sort of thing. So HardGoods is a good place to start if you have a limited amount of time. I'm looking at this wooden crab-themed napkin holder. I thought the saying in the back was apropos. I was right where I was supposed to be that day, maybe. And I'm just looking through, again, for things that just really kind of jump out. There's not enough time to spend digging through or taking any sort of a deep dive. For example, all of that great Christmas stuff. I love vintage Christmas, but there's just not time. Now, I don't know what the turnover rate is on this store, but if it's a regular turnover rate and I'm going past here again, I will definitely stop into the store when I have more time. I do see something that pops out at me, which is this teapot over here that I'm going to come over to. It has a bird on top. To me, this looks like majolica, and majolica pottery is definitely a bolo. Be on the lookout. It is generally three-dimensional types of pottery with these beautiful glazes and can be quite valuable, and it's collectible and sought after even if it's on the lower end. So I keep looking. That I did not pick up that pottery piece. I keep going and I just see so much stuff. There's figurines and plates and cups and all of that sort of stuff. Now here I do pick up, I look at a bunch of these salt and pepper shakers. It's not something that I'm normally drawn to, but there was a pair there that had a scene from the Cherry Blossom Festival in Washington, D.C., and I do like tourist related items. They generally sell pretty well for me. Not real profitable oftentimes, depending on what it is, but here's a great tourist item, right? This Hawaii shirt, oh boy, vintage, single stitch, both on the sleeve and the bottom, and it's only 99 cents, made by Pacific Wave in Hawaii. So I'm super psyched about that, and I do pick it up. So I keep going. I open boxes along the way. That's definitely some good thrifting advice. You never quite know what you'll see in there. I did not pick up this carving set. There was a little kind of piece there that was broken off, so I didn't know if that set was complete, but I keep going. So I do pick up about 5 or 6 things, and here's the haul. I am back home, and I have a haul based on the thrift store that I was at, literally on the road. So this haul is really about, can you make money while you're on the road? Can you make money out of town, when you're traveling, when you're on vacation, visiting, that sort of thing? I definitely think you can, and it's a lot of fun. I was in the thrift store literally for 35 minutes. I had 30 minutes on my parking meter, and I set my phone alarm to 30 minutes. So here's what I got in 30 minutes. It was a great thrift store, and it was small, but it was packed, and the prices were really pretty good, other than items that they had pulled off and put into the cases and things like that. So let's see what I got. First up, I got a couple bookends. Isn't this cute? This is a really sweet kitty cat single bookend. So his or her partner in crime is no longer with her, and it does have a little bit of damage on one paw, but it's really not noticeable. I generally do not get things that are damaged at all, but for just $3.99. Sorry, this was $4.99. So for $5, somebody's definitely going to want this for their bookshelf. This cute, adorable wooden cat climbing up. And this says it's handmade in Thailand. So that was the first item that I got. And I did get another pair of bookends. This is an actual pair. There are two of them. And these are trains. So these are wood also with decoupage train decals on them, and the trains are actually named. And are they dated too? No, but yes, they're dated too. So the Mini Tonka from 1870, the steam engine. How fun is that? Either for a collector, a train enthusiast, a kid's vintage room, that sort of thing. And then the other one is a little different. It's another steam engine. It's called the Governor Stanford 1863. So these are super cool and definitely will sell. These I paid $3.99 for. So certainly a profit to be made there. I also picked up a couple of cookbooks. Nothing it's going to bring huge profit, but I love to look, especially if I don't have a lot of time. The cookbook area is somewhere that I'll go. I particularly look for spiral bound vintage cookbooks, and these either community cookbooks or cookbooks from various restaurants and things like that are collectible, and people love to find them. So this one is the Ramona Jones recipes from Grandpa Jones Family Dinner Theater. So I'm going to look into this a little bit more. The comps were about $12 to $15, and for 89 cents, that's perfect. And whether that sells on its own or not, I can always lock this up with another grouping of community style cookbooks, which will sell great. The other one, I was not in my home state, but I found a cookbook from my home state, is called Apple Hood and Mother Pie. So this is a really nice spiral bound, again, cookbook, and it's from the Junior League of Rochester, New York. Nice thick binder, lots of recipes, dividers, and what's really fun with some of these vintage community books is that the names of the contributors to the book are actually in there. So these are highly collectible as well. And you find some really cool recipes in these old books. Oftentimes I'll go through and I'll list a couple of the recipes in the listing because it's fun. It's just cool to look through them and see what you might find that's not on, a modern menu, that sort of thing. So it draws interest to the listing, and it's fun. There's no reason not to kind of, browse through your book, peruse through the pages, and see what you've got. Next is an awesome vintage t-shirt. And again, from Rally Roots, who most of us probably follow. We know how to look for vintage t-shirts. This was right on the end cap of the aisle. I didn't even really do any clothing shopping. So maybe somebody had looked at this, pulled it out, tried it on, it didn't fit, and they're not a reseller, so they're buying it for themselves. This has the single stitch on both the sleeves as well as the hem. Really cool Hawaiian graphic, and made in Hawaii as well. The brand is Pacific Wave. So I'll do a little bit of research on this as well. Probably ask somewhere in the neighborhood of $30 to $35 for a vintage Hawaii t-shirt. And so that's that. What else? Okay, there weren't any sales today. When I went in, there was a sign that said no sale, and I assume that means no particular color tag, but there was one sale on coats. So 75% off of winter coats. So I asked about this coat, which was listed as a men's coat, and it was with a bunch of different trench coats, but this is absolutely gorgeous leather. Pebbled, it's a chocolate brown, espresso brown, pebbled leather, belted, and it's not men's, it's a women's trench, size 8. And I'll stand up and show you the vintage tag up here. It's called, the brand is called Together. And I've seen this brand before. It's kind of a 90, you can see actually by the graphic there, it's a kind of an 80s, 90s brand. So it's certainly a vintage jacket with this awesome leather belt. There's a little bit of damage down here, but nothing some leather cleaner and colorant won't fix. So the price they had on that was $26.99. So with 75% off, I got that for $6. One thing that I do recommend is that you don't go season by season. Don't limit yourself to only the current season, especially if you get a great deal like that. And if you sell on eBay and you offer international shipping, which I highly recommend, you will find that a lot of places in the world aren't heading into spring and summer right now. They're heading into fall and winter. I recently sold a $189 faux fur coat, and it went to Australia because they're about to head into their winter season. So don't be afraid, if you're doing international shipping, to send things off to other countries and to get them, list them, even if it's not, right in season at the moment. So next thing I got was not going to be too fun to ship, but I couldn't pass up the price. This is a custard glass, really large size ceiling light. So it's the shade, the glass shade for a ceiling lamp. And I'll probably ask around $40 to $50 for this. I only paid $5.99. It's in really great condition with a very pretty burgundy, sort of rust burgundy with some gold, cabbage, roses design. Paid just $5.99 for that. And so I expect to definitely turn a profit on that. So it's starting to add up. I was way out of town. I thrifted one store for an hour and another store for a half an hour, and that's it. And the profit, the cha-ching, the money, it's starting to add up as we go through, right? A couple of more items. I quickly whipped through the shoes. And that's one thing about this kind of really quick thrifting. You're just sort of skimming the surface and you're looking for things that pop out at you, either things that you yourself know will sell, that you regularly look for, anything that's bright that just sort of pops out at you. This is something that I regularly look for, and that is leopard print or cheetah print calf hair shoes, bags, belts, things like that. These were, I paid up a little bit, I think, for these. They were $12.99, and they're not a really well-known brand, but they're in gorgeous condition, zip-up booties, and I certainly feel that I'll turn a profit. These might sit for a while. They might not sell until next fall, but that's fine with me. So as a long-tail seller, I don't mind doing that. So the brand is Find, F-I-N-D. I don't think you'll be able to see in there. And again, just the condition was really great. It's a nice medium size, European sizing 38, and just that beautiful, always ever popular, practically a neutral at this point, cheetah print in real calf hair leather. So that's a buy for me if I just happen to see that and I'm swinging by. I would have liked to paid a little bit less, but it's still a profit maker, and so I'll throw it in my cart for that reason. Lastly, I picked up a few really cool belts, and this store was 2 stories. It was a Salvation Army. The first floor was all men's clothing, and I don't know if I quite realized it right at the beginning that I was only seeing the men's stuff downstairs. I went upstairs just really briefly, but with that limited time, I didn't really do any clothing hunting. But I did look at the belts, and there was some gorgeous handmade, hand-tooled. I don't know if these are tooled or stamped. Sometimes when they're in a repeating pattern like this, they were rolled out and stamped rather than hand-tooled with the tool, a carving tool. But this one does say that it was handcrafted by, and the man's name was John L. Davidson, so I'm going to look that up. I paid $2.99 for this one. nice solid brass buckle, nice size, excellent condition, really pretty leather, unisex for sure. Another one fell down, here it is. Very similar. I will not lot these because I almost think they're too similar. I don't know that necessarily somebody would want to have two that are just about, you know, nearly identical. They probably came from the same donation, but I'm going to sell them individually. So again, the nice solid brass marked buckle and the repeating pattern, beautiful tooled leather, genuine leather. And the size is handwritten in there as 32, so it's written on with pen. So again, this one isn't stamped with that maker's name, but I believe that it was handcrafted, certainly, if not by him. And then this one was in with the men's stuff, but this isn't a men's belt. This is a women's belt, and I sort of was clued in that just by the little flowers, florets sort of design. This is a nice little bit of studded, open, darker brown leather belt. And when I looked on the inside, where you'll find the information on who made it, what it's made out of, the size, and all of that, I was happy to see that this is by Fossil. So Fossil's a great brand. That's an automatic pickup brand for me if I'm getting it at the right price, especially a nice, just basic, really cool, you know, on fashion point, trendy leather belt to go with your, you know, jeans, jean shorts, that sort of thing. So that's really it. So I got this really quick thrift haul, stopped off the side of the road, just, you know, put in my ways. Okay, I want to go to the nearest thrift store. This popped up, went in. I spent about it was $34, I believe, and I got about 11 items. So somewhere in the neighborhood of about $3 or so per item for about these 11 items. And that's a pretty good price considering, you know, that I got that long trench leather coat as well. So happy thrifting, everybody. I'm going to keep making these videos, and hopefully I'll get better at doing the actual editing and that sort of thing. But I'm a full-time, sometimes part-time, sometimes reseller, and I've been doing this for about 15 to 20 years. I have a real passion for it. I think it's a lot of fun as well as profitable, and I have learned a lot from other resellers. So I'm jumping into the game to kind of share what I look for, how I make money, and you know, what you can be looking for as well. So thanks for watching. Bye.